Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am creating a birthday card using the Cupcake Cutie and the watercolor wash rectangle stencil from my favorite things. Now first of all, let's start with the coloring of this adorable image from the Cupcake Cutie stamp set. So the illustrator from these stamps are Tiddly Inks. And I just love them. Since last month, it's an addition to the My Favorite Things stamps that you can buy, and they are just all so adorable that I just couldn't, well, avoid buying this one. It's too cute. So I also bought some new blue markers and I decided to use some of them on this dress. So it's the first time that I'm using this combination, and I must admit I'm really happy with these new additions to my Copic marker collection. It's really soft, but you can add some lovely shadows if you want to. And I'm just building my way up. So starting with my darkest, going towards the lightest one, and then adding a few layers until I'm happy with the blend and the shadows that are visible. I decided to add a bit more of that mid-tone on the edge, and then I could continue with the rest. Now I must admit this is the second time that I'm coloring this image. I made my card and then I ruined the card, and all at the end I realized that I only filmed the coloring part of this image and the rest I forgot to press play. So I only had half a video for you and I was really disappointed about it. But then it appeared that I ruined the card by adding too much stickles, and so I really like the idea. So especially for you, I started all over and I created it again, which I normally don't do, but I'm really glad that I did. So the skin tone, one of the combinations that I saw on Facebook, I think it was from Rochelle. Well, that doesn't say a lot, but one of the design team members from My Favorite Things uses this combination often. So I decided to use it as well because I really like it. Um, it's slightly a twist on the skin tone that I normally use, but I think it's also a way of getting a lovely skin tone. Okay, now onto the hair. I said it many times before. This illustrator is one of those illustrators that really helped me get a hang of coloring hair this way, because there are many ways to color hair, to color critters or anything like that. I really like the idea of seeing all those hairs and then the highlights. So I'm glad that I can do that and that I got better in it, but it's really because of the illustrations that I used to get started with it. So this one, Rochelle Anna Miller, really lovely to get a hang of coloring like this. It's just letting yourself be guided by the lines, and when there are more lines to added to the hair by the illustrator, it really is useful. Another thing is sort of flicking while following the lines, and I also always start at the same spot. And if there is a wide area at the end, I don't really care about that. I think it can be lovely as well, but often when I do my second layer, it sort of disappears. Also good, no worries. But I'm not going to completely color it in because there is like a tiny sliver of white. I don't mind that at all. So here I'm onto my second layer. Out of the blue, my E59 was a bit more syrupy than previously, so it's quite harsh this time, but in the end it's okay. I think I have those lines that I want for the hair and I have the contrast. I already colored with the E59 again and it wasn't syrupy anymore. I have no clue what's going on. So if anyone knows, then you can always leave it in the comments. The marker works perfect. There is enough ink in it. It was just doing the second layer, so the paper isn't saturated yet. I have no clue what happened. But it happened. and that's why there is quite a difference in shadows, but if you tilt it, it's less noticeable. So I'm using sort of the same brown combination on the shoes as for the hair. That makes it all a bit more simple. I'm also trying to give those shoes that rounded look by adding the shadows like this, but I have the shadows on the face and the dress on the right side, so that's why I didn't completely went with the dark color all over, but just partially. So I'm again using multiple layers until I'm happy with the blend. And it took me a while. Sometimes I need more than 2 layers, but this paper allows me to add more. It's Transotype Perfect Coloring Paper. And I'm just working it, you know? Also something. With my first coloring project that, well, I ruined the card later. But there I had this cupcake colored in blue. And it was also the same blue as the dress. And I didn't like it completely, so that's why I messed up later on with the stickles and stuff. Well, long story short, I asked my crafty friend, Julia from Craft Room Adventures, you know her, what she would do. And then she was like, maybe just a vanilla cupcake. So this is the vanilla cupcake, and I really like it a lot more than my first try. The blue was just a bit too blue, I don't know. So the idea was actually with the coloring and also the background later on to have blue with beige and browns. So that's why I went for this wrapping of the cupcake. Otherwise, I think that a pink one or a red, a really vibrant color would be really lovely. But just the color scheme in my head was beige and browns and the blue, so I tried to stick to that. For the flowers, I'm really simple, going to add some yellow orangey flowers. I'm not doing much about it, and then I also have those green leaves, which are really subtle, just in the hair. And then this image is almost completely colored in, so that's lovely. I'm using the matching dies to cut it out, and then I can continue with the background. Now for the background, I have an A2 sized panel. I cut it with the basic rectangles from my elephant, and I'm just using some purple tape on the back to keep this stencil in place. Now I try to line it up sort of in the middle, checking the borders around my panel. And then, well, I folded the purple tape over. It wasn't a good idea, therefore, because, well, the stencil was lifted. So I press it down each time with my fingers. If I hadn't folded over the purple tape, then it wouldn't be the case, so don't fold it over. That's the solution, but I even don't know why I did it. So I'm just softly ink blending on the edges of this wonderful watercolor wash rectangle stencil. I love them. I already used them previously, the Freeform. I think these are amazing stencils which make the background really lovely. Yeah, I think it's an added value to your stencil collection. So I'm going to add a few splatters using a combination of brushed corduroy and antique linen distress ink, just splattering it all around. I also made sure to turn my image that I colored with Copic Markers around so that if I splattered on top of it, then it would be on the back. So that was the idea. And now I'm adding the sentiment, just using the same ink as I did for the girl. And then with some thin foam squares, I'm going to add her to this panel. Now I'm using my T-square ruler to sort of have her centered on my panel. And then we can start adding some details. So I decided to add these iridescent bubbles, tiny, from Studio Katia, all around this panel. I love these bubbles, these are tiny ones. It's always nice if you have different sizes, but this size is so cute. So I added it a bit everywhere. And it's iridescent, so bonus. And then, well, we can stop there. But I decided to add some dots. I added dots on the dress to make it a bit playful. And then I also added some dots onto the cupcake, sort of sprinkles on top of it. Then I'm going to add this panel to my card base, just adding some adhesive roller. And I will finish this card by adding some stickles on top of the centers of the flowers. Oh, and black glaze pen onto the eye. So that, and then the stickles just in those yellow centers of each flower. And that's it. That's my card for today. Really simple, cute, and funny, I think. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I wish you all an amazing day, and I will be back soon with some new crafty inspiration. Bye!